Breaking news tonight as the leader of Barack Obama's economic team faces questions about his tax returns and a former housekeeper's immigration status. Treasury Secretary nominee Tim Geithner's troubles couldn't come at a worse time as the president-elect tries to sell his economic plan to skeptical Senate Democrats. Obama made his final pre-inauguration visit to the Hill today and threatened to veto any attempt to interfere with the release of the last $350 billion in Wall Street bailout money. We're going to talk to our political panel about that, about Tim Geithner's troubles, and if they're likely to hurt the president, or the next president, rather. With me tonight, CNN senior political analyst Gloria Borger, New York Daily News columnist Errol Louis, and Andy Serwer, managing editor of Fortune magazine. Welcome, guys. Hi. Gloria, let me start with you on this. You've been doing a lot of reporting on this, I know. Jessica Yellen also just telling us the Obama team knew about this, stuff with Geithner, before they announced his nomination. Should they have made that information public then? I mean, was it a strategic mistake to let this blow up at the last minute?
You know, I guess it's good to do some, Monday morning quarterbacking here. They knew about it, and within about a week, they told the Senate Finance Committee. It was sort of over the Thanksgiving holidays, around the Thanksgiving holidays. So the Senate Finance Committee has had all of this information for quite some time, Campbell. And when you talk to people on Team Obama, what they will say is that the housekeeper issue they call a glitch. And when it comes to his own personal taxes, which I believe is actually a more serious issue, they say there's a lot of ambiguity when you work for the International Monetary Fund, as he did, because they don't withhold taxes, as most of us do in our paychecks. And so this was a problem he had, but an oversight. I think that's more serious because he's got a big job at Treasury to do. And people can raise the question, well, if you can't do your own taxes,
yeah, how are you going to lead us out of this mess?
Yeah.
Andy, the Obama team saying the job of Treasury Secretary right now, especially in the middle of an economic crisis, is just too important. These were, in their words, quote, honest mistakes, and they don't rise to the level of ditching his nomination. What do you think?
Well, it's a question of degree, isn't it? I mean, if we discover something really serious, that's more important than the economic crisis, and we obviously want someone who's untainted, doesn't have questions of judgment, and can lead us through this economic storm. I think the jury's still out a little bit with this particular issue. There's still some more questions that need to be answered. But again, getting back to the point that Gloria just made, you'd rather have a Treasury Secretary who had a couple speeding tickets rather than problems with their taxes, right?
Well, I mean, Errol, to that point, I mean, as Gloria was telling us, Jessica Yellen reporting, he received 4 different documents, if we have this right, telling him about these taxes he was supposed to pay, and he still missed it.
Yeah, I want to hear.
Most people are going to get this, right?
I want to hear what he has to say. I mean, and I think that will really determine it, because if he does what I think most officials would do, and I've seen a number of these cases in the past, they'll blame it on their CPA or some lost paperwork, or there was a fire at the summer home or something like that, and so we'll
not blame it on the fire at the summer home in the middle of this crisis. That ain't going to fly.
Delegate my tax return.
Go ahead, Gloria.
Well, you have Charlie Rangel, who's the chairman of the House Ways and Means Committee, a Democrat, who's got problems with his taxes too. And some people are scratching their heads about that. I think, Geithner really has to explain how after an IRS audit he paid back 2 years of back taxes, but he'd actually worked there 4 years when he didn't pay his Social Security and Medicare taxes. And then the Obama vetters said to him, oh, look, you got to pay those other 2 years too. Maybe he just wasn't paying attention.
Okay, sloppy, though. I mean, is there an explanation here that we're missing, Andy?
There's a bigger issue, though, Campbell, I think, and that has to do with the fact that, this country is in a precarious state right now. There has been a perception that Obama was doing a terrific job managing his campaign, the transition, picked good people, was managing this process very well. We had a little bit of a hiccup, to use Harry Reid's phrase, with Richardson. Now, is this going to be a problem? And, it starts to potentially hit confidence just at a time when we really don't need it.
Well, and maybe you can address, both of you can address this question. I mean, there are other potential problems we haven't even gotten to with Geithner, too, which was, it was on his watch that Lehman Brothers failed. And a lot of people may raise that in terms of the bigger questions about how we got into this mess in the first place.
Right. Tim Geithner was said to be the person who was at the center of some of these early talks when some houses went out of business, other investment houses were saved, when all of the bankers were huddling in Lower Manhattan trying to figure out what to do. He was given high marks for that, but those high marks came from investment bankers. They're not the most popular people in the country right now. So his ability to manage high finance, I guess, we'll have to take somebody else's word for that. Clearly, his ability to manage his own finances, not so great.
Okay, and Andy, just address this too. Are we going to see a reaction from the markets possibly if this lingers on? I mean, stability is what everybody's been craving, you know, from what you guys tell us.
Well, on the one hand, you know, we're in good shape because the Treasury just got a couple $1,000s more in tax money from him. It's kind of a joke. But on the other hand, no, seriously, folks, you know, again, if this is a problem where, you know, he's derailed suddenly, I think there could be, you know, a real reaction on Wall Street over the short term.
Gloria?
Campbell, I still think overall it's more likely that Tim Geithner is going to get confirmed, that these issues are an embarrassment to him. It's something he's got to apologize for, and I gather he did that to members of the Senate Finance Committee. We have a huge economic crisis out there. The judgment has to be made about whether Tim Geithner is the person who can help lead the country out of that.
All right. Thanks very much to both Andy and Errol. Appreciate it, guys. Gloria, I know you're going to stick around and talk with us a little bit later. Tonight, there couldn't be a clearer picture of what the new Secretary of State will be up against. Take a look at this. Barack Obama's picture already being burned in the streets of Tehran. When we come back, Hillary Clinton faces the challenge of changing America's image abroad. And then later, a gunman in a taxi shooting at police. And the whole thing caught on tape. The incredible story. We've got that ahead.